Hare Krishna.
By the Bhagavad-gita 4.
Which chair do you recommend?
Oh, yeah. Nice. Cool. It's a good team. You got the core team there. You just need at least one other to start, and then other people kind of come in. Good job. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Go to see carrot cake, you can do. Oh, yeah. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Vishnupadaya Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Maybe, if we grab some Bhagavad-gitas, we're going to read from chapter 9, text 13. 13. What? Ah, okay. Oh, thanks. Thanks, Ada. Maybe turn that up just a little bit. I think it's a bit soft in here. Is that right? Up. It's the same thing. It's kind of loud outside, but not really in here. Haribol, Haribol, Haribol. That's better. Okay, 9:13. Uh-huh. 9:32 is also about taking shelter. Interestingly, that's what we're going to discuss today. But yeah, we'll do 9:13. That's on page 394. Mahatmanas. Oh, I'll just chant some prayers of invocation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mahatmanastu Mamparta Daivim Prakritim Ashritaha Bhajanti Manaso Yadva Bhutadim Avyayam Mahatmanastu Mamparta Daivim Prakritim Ashritaha Bhajanti Manaso Yatva Bhutadim Avyayam Devim prakritimashitaha bhajanti ananya manaso yatva bhutadimavyayam mahatmanastu mamparta devim prakritimashitaha bhajanti ananya manaso gyatva bhutadimavyayam. Mahatmanastu mamparta daivim prakritimashita bhajanti ananya manaso gyatva bhutadimavyayam. Anyone else? Ajahn? Maha Atmana, the great souls. 2. But Mam, unto me. Parta, O son of Brita. Daivim, divine. Prakritim, nature. Ashritaha, having taken shelter of. Bhajanti, render service. Ananya manasaha, without deviation of the mind. Gyatva, knowing. Bhuta, of creation. Adim, the origin. Avyayam, inexhaustible. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O son of Prita, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. Do you have a second mic that people can use for reading the purport? It's only a short purport, so maybe we can take turns. If you want to start, anybody can start. Okay, yeah. Can we read the purport? Just read read 5 or 6 lines or whatever.
Yep. Purport. In this verse, the description of the Mahatma is clearly given. The first sign of the Mahatma is that he is already situated in the divine nature. He is not under the control of the material nature. And how is this effected? That is explained in the seventh chapter. One who surrenders unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, at once becomes freed from the control of material nature. That is the qualification. One can become free from the control of material nature as soon as he surrenders his soul to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the preliminary formula. Being marginal potency, as soon as the living entity is freed from the control of the material nature, he is put under the guidance of the spiritual nature. The guidance of the spiritual nature is called Devi Prakriti, divine nature. So when one is promoted in that way, by surrendering to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one attains to the stage of great soul, Mahatma.
The Mahatma does not divert his attention to anything outside Krishna, because he knows perfectly well that Krishna is the original Supreme Person, the cause of all causes. There is no doubt about it. Such a Mahatma or great soul develops through association with other Mahatmas, pure devotees. Pure devotees are not even attracted by Krishna's other features, such as the four-armed Mahavishnu. They are simply attracted by the two-armed form of Krishna.
They are not attracted to other features of Krishna, nor are they concerned with any form of a demigod or of a human being. They meditate only upon Krishna in Krishna consciousness. They are always engaged in the unswerving service of the Lord in Krishna consciousness.
O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. So, an essential word in this verse is this word ashrita. Ashrita means having taken shelter of. So, in one sense, Lord Krishna is giving the symptom of someone who has attained perfection, the great soul. And in another sense, he's giving the process of how to become on the Mahatma, the topmost spiritual platform. As Prabhupada says here in the purport, the guidance of the spiritual master, the guidance of the spiritual nature is called Devi Prakriti, or divine nature. So when one is promoted in that way, by surrendering to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one attains to the stage of a great soul or Mahatma. Being marginal potency, as soon as the living entity is freed from the control of material nature, is put under the guidance of the spiritual nature. That spiritual nature is Devi Prakriti. So, in one sense, this is the symptom or the situation of perfection, and it's also the process. And what is the active verb here? What is the active word in this whole verse? Ashrita, having taken shelter of. This is what they do. What do they take shelter in? Devi Prakriti, the divine nature. So this second line, Devim Prakritim Ashrita. This is the qualification, the symptom of the great soul, and it's the process of how to attain perfection. So I'd like for everybody to think about this and really let's unpack this a little bit. What does it mean to take shelter, right? What does it mean to take shelter? Because this is we can see a very pivotal part of bhakti. This is the ninth chapter is really, it's literally called the most confidential knowledge. And this is where Krishna is giving the real confidential, the inside track, the real gems. Okay, what's the essence of bhakti? And this verse is one of them. So we have to think a bit, like, what does it mean to take shelter? Because if that's what we're trying to do in bhakti, we're trying to take shelter of the Devi Prakriti, the divine nature. So we have the microphone. Just think for a minute. This is my question to you. I'd like to hear your thoughts. I'd like to hear your share. What does it mean to take shelter? Number one, and what's some examples of taking shelter? Number two, and number three, what's the experience of taking shelter? Okay, so first of all, what does it mean just in general, take shelter? What's some examples? And especially 2 and 3, what's some examples that we see in the world of people taking shelter? And then what's that experience? What's the experience they're having? Because Krishna is telling us this is what we have to do. We have to understand this experience of taking shelter of the divine nature if we want to come to this level. So everyone can ponder that for a minute, and when you have something to share, just put up your hand and or call out whatever. We'll just give you a minute to think about that. What's some examples that you've seen? And what is that experience of the person who's taking shelter?
Taking shelter is like protection, safety, asylum, I guess. And I guess in the world, like people that are refugees are
Sorry. What was that? The word protection, safety, and
asylum.
asylum. Okay, yep.
Like I guess refugees in the world, like people who have to flee their homes because it's not safe for them in there. So it's not actually really protection where they go to though, but that's what they're seeking, I'm sure.
Yeah, very good. So there's a good example. So people fleeing from, war and being harassed in different ways in their country. They're fleeing that, so they're trying to take shelter in another place. And what's the can you just take it back for 1 sec? Sorry. There's another one. Yeah, there's two of them. But what's that experience? I'm trying to think about what's the experience of taking shelter. So just say it does work out. Say they come to a country that is safe, that gives them safety, gives them shelter compared to where they've come, where they've been, literally their lives are at danger. So what's that experience for them in that example?
I would imagine some kind of relief, some kind of ease of suffering.
Yeah. It's a feeling of relief, the experience of relief. Oh, wow. Okay, I'm out of danger. Yep.
I guess maybe hope.
Hope for the future.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. That's good. That's okay. Yep. Yep. All right. Somebody else to share. Yep. Can give the mic here.
My understanding of what I see taking shelter of someone is, or taking shelter, realizing that we're in a helpless position of our own endeavor. We can't really get anywhere, so taking shelter of someone else, whether that's the spiritual master or the holy name, the spiritual master especially, you take in their guidance because you accept that they're on a more elevated level compared to you. So that in that way, that guidance is the shelter, because you're not in that helpless position anymore.
Yeah, good. So the example is the disciple taking shelter of spiritual master, and the feeling is they were helpless and now they're not helpless. They feel that shelter of someone that has, you said, I think they're on a higher platform, so they feel that, all right, I'm taking shelter of something higher. Yeah, that's good. Yep. Any other examples of taking shelter? Sadie, what is that? There's a mic behind you there. You can take that. Just have to press the button.
If it's raining, you have to use an umbrella, otherwise you get wet.
Yeah,
and
good concrete example. That's what I was looking for. Good.
It's impossible to not get wet without an umbrella or something else.
Yeah.
You can't just say, I'll not get wet because I'll do this by myself, but that's impossible.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And what's the experience of that? When you're in the, you've got your nice clothes on, you're going to some appointment or something, and you're getting wet, and then suddenly someone comes with an umbrella and says, "Here, come in." What's that experience? Very good. Feel thankful. Yeah, very nice. Excellent. Feel thankful, sense of protection. Very good. Okay, what else? What's some other examples of taking shelter? What does it mean to take shelter, and what's that experience like? What are some situations where we see in this world that people take shelter of other people? Aiden?
Oftentimes I see people take shelter in like social situations in certain company.
Yeah.
Like people who are more shy will tend to gravitate towards who they feel really safe with and take shelter in their company.
Nice. Yeah.
And let them like deal with maybe
Yeah.
the social undertaking while they just kind of hang back, and that's those sorts of
So what
partnerships.
makes them go and take shelter there, and what's the experience of that?
I would think-
Why are they taking shelter in that particular person?
I guess I would say like feeling of like trust and
Yep.
Ease with the individual, you know,
Yep.
like you don't feel like that person's taking advantage of you in any
Yep.
way, so you feel like I can be
Yeah.
myself with this person.
Nice. So a feeling of trust that this person's not going to harm me.
And that they have
I
my
feel safe.
best interests at heart
They
as
have
well.
my
like,
best interest at heart.
as like a protector. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yes. Very good. What else? What's another example of people taking shelter? Yep. Just do you want to hit the button, then the people on the internet can hear as well. Just hold it.
Yeah, I was speaking with a woman yesterday who's wondering whether she should leave here at the moment. She's in the village, but she's worried about some habits that she has outside of here.
Yeah.
And we talked about that she could stay here, and just the good association here is shelter. She could shelter here. I sort of said to her, if you go out there, what do you think will happen? Or what do you think will happen if you stay here? So you can shelter from some problems that you might have out there, and you'll get the good association.
Yep.
So you can, it gives you time.
So what's that experience that she's having? Hopefully she stays in this shelter. What's that experience compared to going out and not having the shelter of the association here? Yeah. The question is, what's the experience? We're trying to unpack and understand this idea of taking shelter. So, what's the experience for her to stay here in that association? What are some of the emotions or feelings or experiences that she would have staying here compared to going back out there and engaging in different negative, destructive, tamasic things? Yeah. Less turbulence, yeah. Okay. Yep. Yeah. 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 Okay, good, yeah. Yeah. So that's where we started, relief and things like that. Yeah. Anything else? What's some other examples of people who take shelter? Can you give to that? What's that, Govinda? Govinda, you can be the microphone giver. It's your service.
I was thinking that taking shelter can also happen between
Too much, probably. So what's an example? What's an example? Mm. Mm. What about children? There's an example. What happens when children taking shelter? When children are, if children don't have a proper shelter, then if they have a proper shelter, what does that mean? What's that experience for a child? See these sometimes children from the home situation is beyond dysfunctional. It's even abusive. Sometimes the government will actually remove their children and put them in a foster home for their own protection. So if you talk to someone that's come from that experience, and then they get put in, like they get adopted with a very nice family, and then there's a huge feeling of relief and protection and safety, all of these things we're talking about. Yeah, something else? Yeah.
I really love this example of men and women taking shelter in each other, especially in this familial sense, because I can see so many different ways in which the man would need to take shelter in a woman's presence, like in terms of empathy and emotion and softness and nurturing, and then for the men also to be in that space of like when the woman takes shelter, like in the guy's ability to maybe have emotional stability or providing a house or something in these really traditional senses. And then with the children as well, the children are going to turn to the mother for certain reasons and to the father for certain reasons, and taking shelter in each one at different times. And it's definitely really so important for people to have that ability to discern, like when is the moments to take shelter in each other, and can I surrender into that as well. And
100%, and not even husband wife, but in just friends or devotees who are in the ashram together, whatever. Like there's certain times when you're feeling strong and able to give that shelter. There's certain times when you're like disturbed. It's like, I don't understand this. I don't know what to do, and that person give you shelter. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely not a one-way street. Like this is a little bit of a sidetrack, but in terms of marriage, like the Prabhupada said that the wife is a great energy for the husband, gives a great, makes the husband fixed. So, I mean, women and men's psychology in general, they're different. Of course, everybody's different individually, but in general, there's a general difference between men's psychology. And one of the ways, technically, scientists said that men can sort of function emotionally and intellectually quite separately. They can either be completely emotional, they can be completely intellectual. Sit and just do an architectural drawing for 6 weeks with like 2 hours sleep or something like this kind of like just purely intellectual thing. Most of those jobs you'll find, engineering or those sort of things, mostly are performed by men. The things that it's not that women can't do them, but statistically it's just a fact. Mostly men do those kind of. Women are kind of like, there has to be some experience. So women's minds function where the emotions and the intellect function together. In general, more so they'll feel, but then their emotions still working. So there's a strength in that. When the husband's like completely, it's all emotional. The woman's emotional, but the intelligence is still functioning. They're not separate. And then sometimes when the woman they need that to be just purely spiritual. Like, don't worry about all this stuff. This just has to be done. Then the men kind of take so they both have their strength and weakness. They're not. It's not particular that one is always stronger than the other. Definitely, yeah. That's a bit of a sidetrack, but in general, I think we covered what I was trying to bring out is that this idea of shelter, ashrita, it's an experience. It's an experience that people have. What is the experience of taking shelter? And we had, what were some of the things? You feel relief, you feel protected, you feel safe. What were some of the things? What were some things you had? relief, safety, protection, thankfulness, gratitude. Yep, these are the things. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that, no, not what I'm trying to say, I'm trying to bring out here that this idea of ashrita, of taking shelter, it's an experience. You know, like it's not just an intellectual thing that, yeah, I'm taking shelter, all right, I go to this country and they looked after me, okay, that's good. No, there's a whole experience that goes along with it. So this is something that, you know, we very easily relate to this in the beginning stages of bhakti. It's like when, you know, the Sadhu gave the example of the umbrella. So when you're getting wet and someone comes with the umbrella and they give you the umbrella, then immediately you feel, wow, thank you so much. Right? You feel that relief, right? Or if you're, you know, say it's really, really hot, like in Australia, it comes really hot in summer, or in India, it's even hotter. And then you go into a room with the AC's on, you suddenly, oh, it's such a relief, right? There's that shelter. So when you change from one environment to the other, that feeling of gratitude and safety and relief, that's there, right? And that's for all of us when we come into bhakti, unless we've been born into it, but for most of us we feel that relief in the beginning, right? And, you know, in many ways the challenge is to maintain that, to maintain and increase that. Does it make sense? We want that feeling, all those feelings we said of safety and relief and gratitude, we have to sort of cherish those feelings in the beginning. Cherish that feeling of, wow, I've come out of this world of chaos and I'm coming into this world of bhakti, and I'm just starting, I'm just, you know, taking baby steps, and I'm paddling in the little paddling pool, but still I can feel it. I feel this ocean of bhakti that I've come into. And we have to somehow or another, we have to maintain that, because Krishna is telling us that that's the ultimate goal, is to be in that ashrita, being that taking shelter. Now, we don't know what it means to take shelter of the divine energy right now, right? We don't have that direct experience of the spiritual world, of the personalities there, of what it actually means to take shelter of the divine energy of the Lord. We're not having that experience. So we have to, but the challenge is to keep that feeling of taking shelter and increase it as we go on. I wanted to, you know, dedicate this class actually to Mahatma Prabhu, this Mahatma verse. And we know Mahatma, if you know, Mahatma Prabhu is having some health challenges here, and it sounds like he's getting, you know, moving in the right direction. So we're praying for his health, and we are inspired by his teachings, his understanding on this point, that this process of bhakti, it has to engage this idea of taking shelter, this experience of taking shelter. Krishna, Prabhupada is saying here, Krishna is saying, Bhajanti ananya manaso, without deviation of the mind. So what are the three functions of the mind? Who knows? This is the third verse. Bhajanti ananya manaso. Huh? What are the three functions of the mind? Attachment and aversion that's one aspect of the mind, like accepting and rejecting. That's one aspect. And then there's the three functions of the mind, what it does. Ego is above the mind, but the manas. Bhajanti ananya manas, or the manas. Do you know, Bobby? Yes, thinking, feeling, and willing. Sat in enough classes, right? As a kid. She hardly reads anything. She doesn't, but she just knows so much philosophy just because she grew up in the movement, and she was always going to classes by her dad. So that could be you, Janava, in the future. You listen out. Yeah, it just goes in. So the functions of the mind, you guys have heard that? Thinking, feeling, and willing? Yeah. So thinking, What's thinking? Just thinking about something. Oh, just thoughts, right? I'm thinking, oh, it's windy out there. Oh, it's windy. Okay, we're just thinking it's windy. Now what's feeling? Huh? What?
If you're in the wind.
If you're doing what?
If you are in the wind.
Oh, if you're in the wind, yeah. Okay, so you could be in the wind, or you could just be actually feeling. So thinking, yeah, so in that example of being in the wind, like thinking is just thinking, oh, it's windy today. Like you might see on the app or something, wind speed 35 kilometers. Oh, it's a bit windy today. It's just a thought. Now when it goes to feeling, what's that? Now you mightn't even be in the wind, but that feeling, what does it feel like to be in the wind? What does it feel like? Could be cold if it's winter, sorry. Could be nice if it's summer. Yeah? What else? Irritated? Could be irritated, or it could be nice. You could feel like it could be soothing. Oh, nice wind. Yeah? But that's feeling. What is the experience of being in the wind? Yep. If it's really strong, right, you could be pushed over. Oh, anyway, we'll come back to it. That's all right. Yeah, being pushed, okay. Yeah, by the weight of the wind, right? That's a feeling, like. Is the feeling, yeah, exactly. But I'm just saying, what is the feeling of being in the wind? The thinking is just, oh, it's windy. The feeling is what is the experience of being in the wind. You might be in the wind, or you might be thinking about being in the wind, how it feels. Now, what's willing? What's the willing? Yeah, it's literally taking action, right? I'm hot in this house. It says I've seen on the app it's windy outside. I'm thinking about it. Now I've felt, oh yeah, I'd like to be in that wind. I'd like to have the experience of the wind blowing on me because I'm hot. And then the willing is, all right, let's go. I'm actually getting out. I'm up. I'm going out into the wind, right? So that's all the mind. Thinking about it, feeling. In other words, do I like that feeling or not? So in wintertime, it might be thinking it's windy. Then it might be feeling what it's like to be in the wind. Oh, freezing. And then the willing is, I'm going to stay here. Right? In summer, it might be the opposite. Right? I'm thinking it's windy. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling, okay, do I want that feeling? That's a feel. The mind is thinking, do I want that experience? Right? It's feeling in the heart. And then the willing is doing something about it. So we have to, bhakti is experience. We have to understand what this word means. Bhajanti ananya manaso, without deviation of the mind, doesn't mean that every single thought I have is perfect and on spiritual platform or something like that. It means without deviation of those functions of thinking, feeling and willing. We're not letting ourselves get to the point, we're not willing things that are away from Krishna consciousness. We're not thinking, when we start thinking about things that are Krishna conscious, we think, oh no, that's not. We feel it, no, that's not going to be good. So we will appropriately, no, I'm going to stay here, I'm going to take shelter of Krishna. Like it's an experience again. So what I'm trying to say is that happens very naturally in the beginning. It's a natural relief, a natural feeling. We want to enhance that. Enhance the function of the mind, of that gratitude we feel, that feeling of shelter. And how can we do that? What we don't want to do is to come to a platform where it's like, I feel the shelter and everything, and now I'm in bhakti, and now everything's fine. I can just turn off my emotions. I just go through the motions. I turn off my emotions. I go through the motions. Yeah, I'm chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, whatever it is. And we actually start to divorce ourselves from this idea of taking shelter with the experience of taking shelter, what it means. Now, the Acharyas have explained to us that can increase, and that should increase, and if you want to attain the spiritual world, that has to increase. That the emotions have to get more, not less. What is Lord Chaitanya saying in the Shikshastakam, right? His emotions are just out of control. He's completely overwhelmed with the emotions of taking shelter of Krishna. That's what it is, right? So we have to develop that more. What does that mean? What does that mean practically? We have to maintain those feelings of ashrita, of taking shelter. Maintain that. What is that relief we're getting? What is the shelter that Krishna is giving us? That all those things. In terms of our chanting, there's something Mahaprabhu talks a lot about. Is we have to be able to connect our chanting. We have to connect all of our service, but especially the japa, right? We have to connect that to this taking shelter. How are we taking shelter with our japa? How are we taking shelter of Krishna? We can meditate on it. That experience of someone taking shelter, whether it's a child taking shelter of the parent, or the refugee taking shelter of the country, or the person taking shelter under the umbrella, how are we taking shelter by our chanting of the holy name? How are we doing that? What we definitely don't want to do is just say, yeah, I chanted my rounds yet. Okay, done, next. No, there has to be an experience there. And in the beginning, it's not going to be, I'm taking shelter of Krishna and the cowherd boys or the gopis or something like that. I mean, if it is that, it's totally artificial, right? It's just illusory. We have no experience of that. We're like a 5-year-old talking about marriage, literally in a spiritual sense. We have no energy. So if we're thinking like that, then it's just illusory. It's just fantasy, right? So how can it be real to us? Okay, we've come into bhakti now. Okay, so we don't need to pray to Krishna, oh, please just get me out of this gross sinful activity, this horrible intoxication, all that. We're out of that. Okay, no, we're here. Okay, now from here, what's a real way of taking shelter? That's my next question to you. I'm letting you guys do all the hard work. Yeah. Well, you can think about it while you're doing that. What's that mood? What is that mood? While we're doing our service, while we're chanting, while we're doing kirtan, whatever the service we're doing, what's the mood of how we do that service to maintain this aspect of ashrita, maintain this aspect of taking shelter? You have to be? Yep. So if we're chanting japa, how does that relate to that? Yeah. Being a humble state of mind, like literally, I think, was it you said, I think, in the beginning, that taking shelter is like, yeah, that so you, like the spiritual master, you feel like, okay, there's someone that's on a higher level than me, so therefore I can take shelter because they have something I don't have. So in the same way, when we're chanting, we're repeating Krishna's name, where we have, like you said, humble state of mind. We approach the holy name like, wow, this is something way above me. This is something that's giving me shelter. The shelter's coming down. It's the umbrella over me that's sheltering me from the rain. We're approaching in that mood. Krishna says, yayata mam prapadate, as you surrender to me, I'll reward you. In other words, as you approach me, Krishna is ready. The Lord is ready to reciprocate with us in any way. He's not the blockage in the relationship. He's not, God is not the one with the deficiency. It's us, right? So he's saying he will respond to us however. So if we approach him in that way through his holy name, okay, I'm taking shelter of him, O Lord. And then we're asking, what are we asking? Please purify my heart. Please allow me to come closer to you. Please allow me to serve you. Please help me to understand my position as your servant, as your eternally subordinate part and parcel that's taking shelter of you. Please help me to understand that. If we chant in that mood, then, Krishna reciprocates in that mood. If we chant in the mood of, this is your holy name, this is the name of Krishna, and I've committed, all right, I have to chant 16 rounds. So let me just quickly get it done as quick as possible and then get on to the real business of whatever my other work is during the day. Then Krishna responds to that. Krishna reciprocates to that also. So this is the challenge, and in one sense we're all new to bhakti. We're all new. Even we're born in the movement, but still in one sense we're new. When we look at the acharyas, Bhaktivinoda Thakur said that when one chants in the mood that is his eternal constitutional position, that he is a soul, eternal servant of Krishna. When one chants in that, it's like the same thing, the humility, then all perfection comes. Then one is free from all offenses. And as soon as one chants in the mood of, I just got to get my rasa, I just got to do this, then inattention comes. And inattention, Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains, is the mother of all offenses. All the offenses come from inattention. Like if you have a relationship with someone, and then you have some time when you're meant to have, say you're learning harmonium or something from someone, and this particular time, for 1 hour you come, and that's the time you learn harmonium. So if you come and sit there and the teacher's there ready to learn, and instead you just sit on your phone the whole time, just scrolling, whatever, then there's no, how's the teacher gonna, the teacher's just gonna, forget this guy, is not even interested. So that time in the morning when we're set aside that time to be with Krishna, with his holy name, if we're not attentive to that, and we're not engaged with our thinking, feeling, and our willing, not just intellectually, like, I'm just hearing the name, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, okay, that's the first stage, that's good, that's better than not hearing. But engaging ourselves in this position as a servant, it doesn't mean we have to think about Krishna and his pastimes or whatever like that. Prabhupada said, if that comes, that's not a problem. But we have to be aware of, what is our mood of offering, our mood of taking shelter of the holy name. That is there, then Krishna reciprocates with that, and it becomes unlimitedly nice. It becomes the best part of the day. That's the best part of the day, because everything's clear. It's just simply us, it's Krishna, and then it's our conditioning. And if all we have to tolerate is our own conditioning, we can just put it to side, just hear the holy name, then it's blissful, it's nice. But that takes concentration and dedication and a prayerful mood. Prabhupada says in that verse, this Hare Krishna mantra, it's the meaning, like the meaning of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Prabhupada translates that the meaning of them is, please Lord, engage me. Please, divine energy of the Lord, engage me in the service of the Lord. And that's what we're saying. If we had to speak it in English, it would be, please Lord, O divine energy of the Lord, please engage me in your service. O my Lord, divine energy of the Lord, please engage me in your service. O Lord, the divine energy of the Lord, please engage me in the service of the Lord. That's what we're saying, When we do kirtan, there's some emotion there, we're singing and all that. The emotions are involved, the mind's involved, we're doing things. But when we can really put everything else aside and test and just try to really focus on that prayer, that personal prayer. Please engage me in your service. Please purify me so I can give up. So that's oh, sorry. So that's the challenge, and that's the symptom of the great soul, is that they've taken shelter in this divine energy. It means the energy of the Lord, the associates of the Lord in Vrindavan. They've taken shelter in that, helping with that service. And that is how we have to cultivate, keep hold of that as we go along. And very quickly Krishna will take us. We have to engage ourselves in that. Thinking, feeling, willing. We have to maintain that initial thing. Just to summarize, we have to maintain that initial, when we first come into bhakti, the feeling of safety, peace, gratitude, all of these things. We have to somehow or another try to keep that. We have to be aware or be on guard of just making it become just every day. Oh yeah, it's okay, I'm a devotee. I chant my rounds, yeah, I do the thing. We won't get Krishna Prem with that mood, because Krishna is reciprocating with our love. Now we're not saying think of, the residents of Vrindavan and all this higher stuff. We're not saying that, but whatever our emotions are engaged in, we engage on that level. Krishna, I'm really struggling with this anatta of seeing some people differently, that they're from my tribe or not my tribe or something, or I'm struggling with this other thing, lust, anger, greed, whatever it is. We put that to Krishna. Krishna, please purify me of this. Please engage. It's all within that prayer. Within that prayer, please engage me in the service of the Lord. Because how can we engage in the service of the Lord if we're still engaging in lust, anger, greed? It can't be done. So within that prayer, to whatever level we're at, whatever our struggle is, we engage ourselves. We pray to the Lord for help with that. That's on the path. And Krishna reciprocates. If we're just saying, I just do the external things, then that's we've discussed tonight. That's not the experience of taking shelter. There's an experience of taking shelter. And the acharyas are saying we have to keep, when you hear the prayers of the acharyas, right? Oh, Gopinath, Mama Nivedana Shuno. Oh Lord, I feel so fallen. You have given me shelter even though I'm so unqualified. Like they're pouring out their hearts. They're pouring out their emotions to the Lord in these bhajans and these songs. And that's what we're trying to, we're trying to catch that mood. We don't artificially jump to that. We're not at that level, no. But we're trying to catch that mood at our level of dependence, of surrender, of getting that shelter, of getting that safety that the Lord has given, the spiritual master has given. We have to, take that and then fan that, make that bigger. Make that bigger, and that comes through, through serving, through following the spiritual master, through chanting the Lord's holy name in that mood. So, okay, we'll stop there. It's a big topic. We can talk about it all day and night, but I think it's important that we understand. Sometimes we know in theory bhakti is an emotion. It's proper defines it. It's emotional love of God. That's what it is. It's the divine emotion. But sometimes we lose that along the way of like, how do we connect with that? But we see, I think this verse is a nice example. We see when we come, we're very much connected to it. And then it's up to us to maintain that connection, that heart connection, if you want to say, with the process of bhakti, with the holy name of the Lord, with the devotees, with the process. And then we're on that track of becoming pure devotees, having emotional love of God, that eventually the the prayer doesn't just become, please leave me of these anartas, please get rid of this lust, anger, greed. The prayer becomes, just deeply, how can I serve you? And then that develops more into, how can I serve you in this particular way? How can I serve you in this particular relationship? I'd like to serve you in this way. But it all comes from having that connection to actually feeling of that, the feeling of surrender, taking shelter. So, yeah, we should be careful to become disconnected from that. We should be careful as we go along, without, becoming too crazy or mental or whatever. But that's the ultimate goal. Any final comments or words or anything? Seven, you want to make a point? No? Okay. All right, thank you guys. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.